A very big hello to dear students and friends, and I welcome you to the next video of this series of clinical examination. So far in this series, we have covered about the history taking and inspection of a case of swelling, and now we are moving to the next step, that is the palpation. But before starting this video, I would like to tell you about the couple of changes which I have made in my recordings. My first change is in presentation itself, which will be evident to you in next few minutes. And the second major change which I have made is of the language. I had started this series of clinical examination in Hindi language, and thanks to all those students who liked my previous videos. But recently I got requests from some students of non-Hindi speaking states who were interested in watching my videos but were not able to do so only because of the language. And they requested me to either to add subtitles to my videos or to change the language. I thought a lot about it and then decided to make my further videos in simple English language, so that they can be understood by a larger number of students. So with the hope that you will like these two changes, let's move to the screen. In previous videos of this series, we have already seen about the history taking and inspection of swelling. Now we are proceeding ahead with the next and the most important task of clinical examination, and that is the palpation of swelling. What you are seeing right now on your screen is dummy of upper limb, and I hope all of you can see a swelling on flexor aspect of the forearm. Now we'll use this dummy in form of various photographs and videos to understand different features of palpation in this video series. Before we start the palpation, let us understand some general principle. Regardless of the disease or the body part you are examining, you should always be gentle in palpating the patient. You should touch or press it softly, and you should make sure that it should not hurt the patient, and your hand should be warm, especially during winter season. The second important principle is that you have to be sequential. Now we saw different features in inspection, but in palpation also there are several features like temperature, tenderness, and you have to perform some tests like fluctuation test, transformation test. One major difference is that here you cannot do these things in a random way. There is a proper sequence, and to perform a methodical examination or proper examination, you should do all these tests or these assessments in that sequence only. Third and the most important principle is that you should spend some time in palpation. I told you in the inspection that if you know what to say, then few seconds are enough. But in palpation, you have to use your hand and your fingers in assessing these features in some different way, and it will take some time. So all these three things you can remember it with a mnemonic of GST: gentle, sequential, and time. Now all these principles, they are important not only for your exams but for your clinical practice also, because when you are inspecting the swelling, only you know that what you are looking, but when you are doing palpation, patient can very well see that how you are handling his swelling. Are you gentle? Are you spending some time? Are you looking to be methodical? So all these things will give some positive or negative impression to your patient. If you are a student, a very important message for you that in palpation, method is more important than the result. Now suppose you are presenting a case of swelling in your clinical posting or in your exams, and if you say the temperature is normal or fluctuation test is positive or something like that, I'm sure that your teacher or examiner may ask you to perform the test in front of him, because he wants to know that how did you assess it, whether you know the procedure or not. So it is very essential for you to know the steps, and I'll focus on these things only, that what is the method to perform these tests, what are the common difficulties which you may encounter, and most importantly, that what are the common mistakes which are done, especially in the beginning. So let us start with various features of palpation of swelling, and on top of the list is temperature. Now whenever you find that the local temperature of any swelling is raised, what comes in our mind is some inflammatory swelling like abscess, cellulitis, lymphadenitis, or anything else. But please do not forget the other set, which is of vascular tumors. It could be a primary tumor like sarcoma, or it could be some metastatic deposit. But if the vascularity of the tumor is increased, it may feel warm to you. Opposite to it, where the temperature is decreased, This condition we very commonly encounter in case of peripheral vascular disease, and the upper limb or lower limb is ischemic. And if there is some necrotic tissue, then here also you will feel that the temperature of that particular area of swelling is decreased. Now at this point I would like to say a few words on a very well-known pathology, cold abscess. We all know it is caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis most commonly, and a very common question asked in the Viva is that what is the temperature of cold abscess? Now please don't say it to be cold. The temperature of cold abscess is normal. It is called as cold only because the classical sign and symptoms of pyogenic abscess like pain, erythema, tenderness, raised temperature, all these features are absent. That is why it is called as cold abscess. But the temperature of cold abscess is normal. Now let us move to the most important question, that how to assess the temperature of any swelling. Now this can be very well understood by remembering and following 6 rules. We'll see them one by one. Now the first rule is that whenever you are palpating any lump or swelling or any body part, the first assessment which should be done should be of temperature. The reason being that whenever you are palpating and you are assessing various features which we just talked about, you have to handle the swelling by your hand and by your fingers in different ways. Now this handling may alter the vascularity of the skin, and if you make assessment of temperature after some time, probably what you will find may not be the actual temperature of that swelling. So to avoid this problem or to be very confident in your perception, as a rule you should start your palpation with the temperature. The second rule, that the assessment should be done from dorsal surface of your fingers. The skin over the dorsal surface is comparatively thinner, and they perceive the temperature sensation in a better way because the palmar skin is comparatively thicker, and temperature is the only parameter which is assessed from back of your finger. All other features of palpation are assessed from the palmar side. Now this we know very well because somebody says that I am feeling febrile. What we do, we keep our hand on his neck or on his forehead region, but we always keep the back of our finger. We never keep the palmar side of the finger. So this is the rule, that the assessment should be done from dorsal surface of finger. Now if you are using gloves during examination of swelling, that's a good thing, but assessment of temperature should be done by direct skin to skin contact. So the best way is that first take the history, then do the inspection, then assess the temperature, then sanitize your hands, put on your gloves, and then proceed for the remaining features of palpation. But the assessment of temperature should be done with the bare hands, not with the gloves. Fourth and the most important rule, please do not come to any conclusion about the temperature without comparing the temperature of surrounding area. Now here I can explain you with a very interesting example, that suppose that this swelling, it's a lipoma. Now lipoma is a benign tumor of fat cells. There is no inflammation, no increased vascularity, so the temperature over lipoma is normal. But now additionally, imagine that this patient is having some febrile problem like say dengue or malaria or anything else. Now what will happen if you will examine him, and if you touch the swelling, here you will find that the temperature over swelling is raised, because here you are comparing the patient's skin temperature with your temperature. But the moment you will touch the surrounding area, you will find that the temperature is raised all over. So in that case, the final conclusion will be that the temperature is normal, local temperature. Patient is febrile, but here we'll call the local temperature to be normal. Now this will be missed if you don't do this thing, if you don't examine the surrounding area. Well, sometimes students ask me a very common question, that what will happen if there is an abscess with fever? Now what will happen? Suppose imagine that this is abscess, and in this case and the patient is febrile. So what will happen, that you will find that the temperature of patient's body is increased, but still the temperature over abscess will be higher than the surrounding area. So what I mean to say that whether temperature is normal or increased or decreased, that cannot be commented unless until you assess the temperature of surrounding area. So this is the most important rule. Do not come to any conclusion without comparing with the temperature of surrounding area. We already seen this feature in inspection when we are talking about the color and skin over the swelling. The same rule holds true here also. Next rule, if you are dealing with a large swelling, now in that case, please do not come to a conclusion by assessing temperature at just one point. Now what may happen, now suppose this is a tumor and here just imagine that in this part the vascularity is high, but here somewhere here there is some necrosis. Now what may happen that this part will be normal, here the temperature will be raised and here the temperature may be lower than the normal area. So this you can miss unless until you examine at multiple random points. So when you are assessing temperature of a large swelling, 1 or 2 points are not enough. You have to assess temperature at multiple points. Last but not the least, please wait for some time at any point, because the thermal sensation, they take some time to reach from your fingers to your brain. And if you move your hand rapidly over the skin and over the surrounding area, so your brain will not be able to perceive these signals properly. So keep your hand, stay there for 1 or 2 seconds and don't move unless until you are very confident in what you are perceiving, especially in terms of temperature. Now as you can see here that he is moving his hand very fast over the swelling and surrounding area. So this is not the correct method for assessment of temperature. But in this case, he is keeping his hand on the swelling as well as on surrounding area for some time. So this is the accurate method for assessment of temperature of swelling. So I hope that you will remember these 6 basic rules for the assessment of temperature of any swelling. If you like this video, please share it with your friends and subscribe the channel. We'll meet again very soon with a new video on the next features of palpation of swelling. Till then, stay healthy, stay safe and always keep learning in your life. Goodbye.